Hello, my name is Seth Harper. Today we're going to be talking about permanent supply shocks. So what is a supply shock? Supply shock is a sudden change in production costs or resources that affects an economy's aggregate supply. There's two types of supply shocks, temporary and permanent. So temporary is short run only, like kind of things we've discussed earlier, like oil price spikes, a bad good or bad harvest. A permanent long-run aggregate supply shock is a long-lasting change in potential output, such as a change in new technology, change in human capital, efficiency of production, things that are going to permanently change the supply. Things like war can negatively affect it. So what causes a permanent supply shock? We just kind of talked about this, but new technology or innovations, improved productivity or efficiency, a growth in labor, capital, or resources can all positively affect supply shocks. A negative leftward supply shock is things such as natural disaster, which destroys capital, permanent loss of labor, war, population decline, or long-term resource depletion. So how does the economy adjust short run to long run? So an initial equilibrium, all three curves meet at full employment. Short run and long run aggregate supply, right or left, and then we have a new short run equilibrium, which changes output and prices. In the new long-run equilibrium, after wages and prices adjust, the economy settles where the aggregate demand intersects in the new short-run aggregate supply and long-run aggregate supply. Output returns to the new potential GDP Y2. All right, so here I'm going to show on a graph using the ADAS model. And we're going to show the long-term effects of the improvement in technology. So any major breakthrough in technology is going to improve supply. For example, something like a breakthrough in agricultural technology is going to make production more efficient across the economy, and firms can produce goods at lower costs and total potential output increases. This improvement is going to be permanent, so positively, and it's going to shift both the short-run aggregate supply curve and the long-run aggregate supply curve to the right. So what we have here is our initial equilibrium, Y1, P1. So new technology makes production cheaper and faster. So short-run aggregate supply is going to shift to the right, but the long-run aggregate supply is also going to shift to the right, and I'll show that with an orange line. So the aggregate demand curve stays the same, and the new short-run equilibrium has a higher output and a lower price level. Because this is a permanent improvement, the economy's full employment capacity increases. The new long-run equilibrium, E3, or E2, this is going to be, is at Y2, higher than Y1, and P2, which is lower than P1. The economy has permanently expanded with a higher GDP and lower inflation.